Alright, what's going on everyone out there on YouTube? NES Ruler, and welcome to a brand new review. And this time around we'll be checking out a film that was sent to me review by Radiance Films, and you can pick this up on Blu-ray at all your favorite online retailers. It is a film from the year 1970. It comes from Germany, and it's titled Red Sun. So very much like Hollywood in the 60s and the 70s, Germany also had a new film movement boom in the 60s and into the 70s. Now, this is before the 80s where Fassbender and Herzog came in, but this is still a new type of, a new Hollywood-esque type of boom in Germany that was happening between the 60s and 70s. So, before then, a lot of the German films were still very post-time-y kind of feel, very Hollywood-y kind of feel. And then, when the French New Wave came in and Godard and those guys were starting to do their thing, they commentated on old Hollywood and wanted to do something a little bit different with their films in France. So ultimately, we have this where the Germans are pretty much giving the middle finger to the old style of films that were being made in Germany before this movement began. And this is one of the prominent films of that movement from 1970, titled Red Sun. Now, this movie is very amateurish, very French New Wave inspired, like I just mentioned. If there's any kind of movement that I would point this film towards, it's French New Wave. A lot of amateur filmmaking, a lot of characters in the room talking without any cuts, a lot of surreal color backgrounds, a lot of things that you would see in those Godard films from the 60s are carried over into this film. So we basically follow our main character. He is a type of a loner character. He hasn't figured out what he wants to do with his life. His name is Thomas, and ultimately he is reunited with his ex-girlfriend who works in this bar. And he has nowhere to live, so he convinces her that he should be allowed to come back and live in her apartment. And in this apartment, it's this ex-girlfriend and her 3 roommates. And as the film progresses, we ultimately learn that what these 4 women are doing they are holding men hostage and murdering them because they feel like they're not being treated equal towards men. But it doesn't have a pro-feminist message in it or anything like that. That's the thing. You think with a film like this, with a plot like that, it would have a high pro-feminist kind of feel to it about these ladies basically kicking guys in the balls and stealing their masculinity away. But the filmmaker isn't interested in that. He's just more interested in telling the story. And there's a really interesting part in one of the essays in this film, in the features, that talk about how it's basically like watching a group of actors, a documentary watching a bunch of group of actors play some characters. And it really is like that. The camera really does play in a way that it seems like you're watching a documentary about actors acting. It just has that real look, kind of feel to it, which of course came from French New Wave. But ultimately, Thomas isn't killed as the days goes on, and this causes a gripe towards these 4 ladies who are living in this apartment, because the rule is after 5 days you have to kill the guy that you're either seeing or sleeping with or anything like that. Thomas lives through 5 days, and that leads to the conflict of the film and the main struggle between our main ex-girlfriend character and her 3 roommates. And we never learn if Thomas is some kind of detective kind of character or anything like that. There's nothing really explained character depth-wise either, which is fine. Again, I feel like that's kind of what the filmmaker was trying to say. He didn't want to dive into these characters' psyches or why they're doing this or anything like that. To a more Western audience, is that kind of something that we expect? Yes. But I feel like in this movie, he really doesn't delve into any of those traits about why these women are acting the way that they are. I think he has to rely on the audience to maybe put that together 2 and 2. Now, the film isn't overly violent. I mean, these women are murdering these guys, but it's amateurish, low budget. Nighttime scenes are done with one light, and the light's tracking the actor as they walk around the frame. So it's kind of like that. But I still think it's a pretty interesting film. Though I think it's the best film? No. Did I get kind of bored with it at times? Yes, because it just kind of drags on, even though it's only about a 90-minute long film. But I feel like it has enough interesting characters and enough stuff that goes on film-inspired wise that a film fan like myself picks up on and starts to appreciate. It's definitely a film for somebody who's a little bit more well-versed in the history of world cinema. But it's an interesting film. Amateur actors, all that kind of stuff. So it's not going to blow you away on anything but on a technical level. But what they were trying to achieve with the plot, with this guy and these 4 women who are murdering all these men, it's an interesting enough plot, and I feel like after the review and me talking about that, if that doesn't interest you, you're probably not going to watch it anyway. But I have a feeling that that kind of plot would interest a lot of people. So there is one image on the back of our ex-girlfriend murdering one of the men that one of the roommates are sleeping with on the front. And this actress, I can't butcher her name, but she was a sex symbol of the 60s and early 70s in West Germany. She was a Rolling Stones groupie, very beautiful woman. A lot of these women in this movie are very beautiful, even to today's standards. So, she was a groupie of the Stones. And inside you get your usual sleeve that comes with Radiance Films releases. And then you have the disc. Very thick booklet. I mean, it's thick, thicker than normal for Radiance. It talks about the film and a little bit of an interview with the director and a little bit more of the history of the movie. And then you have reversible cover art here. So feature-wise, like always, very awesome release from Radiance. I watch a lot of labels and a lot of films on a lot of different labels, and nobody does visual essays like Radiance. They always commission brand new visual essays for their releases, and those are my favorite kind of features. Just really interesting stuff. Whenever I could end up learning something about a film or a country, I always love it. So there's 2 on this one, actually. There's like a 22-minute featurette about the film, about the themes of the movie and the history behind it and the history in Germany. And then there's another like 55-minute essay that talks about just the world in general in Germany and the film industry. Really great stuff. Brand new, commissioned for this movie by Radiance. So just some really awesome essays. And then you have a select scene commentary with the director and a scholar. And then, like I said, you have those 2 essays. You got the booklet, and then you got a brand new restoration on this one. Looks good. It's a very bright film. A lot of the backgrounds, a lot of the walls are colored blue, red. They switch between scenes. One room will be blue, and the next time you go into that room again, it will be yellow. Filmmaker doesn't care. He likes it to be very comic strippy, as you learn in the features, is that's what he was trying to achieve. So a bright colored film. So the transfer does look good. It sounds good. German language track, obviously with English subtitles, and it all sounds good. Just a really nice package here from Radiance. Like always, they always do these nice, clear, thick cases. So just a really nice release again from Radiance, who is becoming one of the tops in the game for releasing world cinema and some really interesting and not always great, but really interesting films that, even though maybe I won't prefer them, but I still respect them for what they are, and this is definitely one of them. So that is my review of Red Sun from the year 1970. If you guys like this review, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/NESRuler22. And I hope everybody's doing well, and I shall see you guys later. See you guys.